Hi Krishna, welcome. So we are here on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text 15. And here, let me also, I can just, let me share it on the Facebook. So we were just discussing the verses that you hear in the morning on Wisdom of the Sages. Yeah. Okay, here it goes. Preparing to live stream. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ekam dvai chini chatvari pancha shat tapta ashtanava dasha avatar. That's how we used to learn the Sanskrit numbers with the kids. Okay. So yeah, we're looking at that. Verse 18. This is not the verse we're studying, but this is just to show that we're coming up on a whole string of really nice verses. But some of the verses we hear every day, if we're, we go to listen to Wisdom of Sages, or if we go to any temple and sit in the Bhagavatam class, chances are they'll recite the verse 4 of this chapter and verse 18. So verse 18 is Nashtapayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance on classes on the Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart. Have any of you had anything troublesome to your heart? Is almost completely destroyed in loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. So that's a famous verse that we hear every day. So it's exciting. These are the 9 stages of devotional service, also described as 14. And they're going to be covered very nicely in this whole chapter. You find that there's this cool chart. We're going to share this chart where in each stage certain qualities manifest. In the beginning, there's certain qualities that are, there's certain things that will completely disappear, and then there's certain things that are, gradually disappearing. And they're talking about all these different qualities like ignorance and attachment, and on the other side, when you come to the other side of the spectrum of full love of God, how this thing is fully manifested, this thing is fully gone, or so here it says almost, when you attend Bhagavatam classes regularly and render service, it talks about a certain quality that is there. The troublesomes of the heart, they're almost completely destroyed. So there's certain things we'll see. I have to find the chart and we'll pull it up. It's really interesting. So how are you, Dana K? Anything new?
No, nothing new. I had a question.
Go for it.
Those these verses that you're talking about that often you hear before class is given, in the one prayer, like temple prayer book that I have, there's like a middle one in there, but you never really...
Do you have it with you?
I don't, because I'm not at home, but
you're talking about
I think it's like Śrīmad
Bhāgavatam. That's in these verses. That's in these verses.
You don't hear it so much when like Raghunath doesn't say that one, and I haven't really heard it.
Yeah, he does 2 of them. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Let me see.
The middle one everybody skips, and I don't know if there's a reason or if it's just personal or.
It's just personal. There's certain verses people like to chant.
Cool. I just wondered. I didn't know if there was like a.
Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. That's verse 17. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hidyantashto Hyabhadrani Vidonoti suhitsatam.
Yep.
Shri Krishna, the personality of God, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and is the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So yeah, that's and not everybody has all these verses memorized, and so there are certain verses that are kind of common to chant before class, and there are verses that are a person may just have particular verses that they like to chant. Like here, I want to show you a verse that I like to chant. We can chant this one together. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where it is. I just have it memorized. Let me look it up. Katachana smite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismite viparitam shat Shri Chaitanya namamitam. Actually, this verse, if you're ever going to do anything hard, what was it? Katachana. Smite yasmin dushkaram. Dushkaram. Let me see if I can find it by searching. I spelled it right. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes. Katanchana. Katanchana. Okay, I found it. Let me blow it up and I'll put it on the screen. If you ever find yourself doing something challenging, then you can write down this verse. Katanchana smite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Somehow or other, if you can remember him, and this is Lord Chaitanya, then difficult things, dushkaram, become sukaram. They become bhavet, easy. Vismrite, but if you can't remember, just the opposite. If you can't but if you don't remember him, then easy things become difficult. To this Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So this is a nice one when we do something, anything for Krishna. We just say, oh, please, you try to remember Lord Chaitanya, his pastimes, his forms, his qualities, his nature, and his name, Gauranga. Like I just saw that video. It's on Facebook called Gauranga Bombing, or it's on YouTube, and it's got 6.7 million views on Facebook. I don't know how many views on YouTube, probably a lot as well. And they're going up to people and saying, "Can you say Gauranga?" And they do this kirtan, and they just go nuts whenever the person just says Gauranga in response. And they go nuts with kirtan, and they're going down famous 16th Street in Denver, Colorado. So somehow or other, katanchana, anchana, smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismite viparitam shat Shri Chaitanya namam. I thought it was kadachana. It's a katanchana, smrite yasmin. Okay, so let's open up our verse for today. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And we are on 15. Yad anudyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataritim. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So anybody can guess, what is the sword that they're talking about? Any guess there? So yad anudyasina. Dhya is, you get this like chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita is called Dhyana Yoga. So dhya is this dhyan, this meditation. So anu means two things. Anu means to follow, and anu means also always. So following the example of great acharya upasena, following the example of great devotees who are anu, who are always meditating, that becomes the asina, the sword. So the sword that cuts away karmic bondage, yad anudyasana yukta. Yukta, we get this word yoga, means to connect, to engage. So we when we engage ourselves in this meditation upon Krishna, yad anudyasana, it cuts away karmic bondage. Because one may be considering, like, well, how can I progress in spiritual life? I have a lot of baggage. I have a lot of, what they call hereditary baggage. Like, what is some of the terms we use in our modern culture? We talk about kind of like a trauma that's passed down through our DNA. We have all this baggage. What to speak of our own karmas, our own past lives? We have the baggage of our generational baggage that is coming down, like somebody's behaved this way to their grandparents, and their grandparents, their parent behaved that way to them. So it's passing down certain characteristics. What to speak of the fruits, the fruits of our actions of our past. And the fruits of the actions of the past are not just what is called aparabdha karma, meaning the karma that's now being manifest, but it's also hutam. Hutam means hutam or hutam. Hutam. I think it is with a K, hutam. It means the actual this tendency to behave in a certain way. So I might have stolen in my past life, and then my karma might be to have some misfortune. I lose also money because of that. Maybe one of the karmic results of thievery is this my loss of wealth. Actually, if you want to be wealthy, the wise aristocratic folks of India know this. The way to become wealthy is to be charitable. That's if you want it to come your way, you got to give it out. You have to support others. You have to help others. It's kind of like if you have like even a creek, like a little stream. If the water collects too long, then the water becomes stagnant if it just stays in one spot. But if it's flowing, if it's moving, then it stays fresh. So that wealth is just staying in one spot, then it becomes stagnant. So, a person thinks I will become wealthy by stealing, but actually they only bring ashubha, misfortune. Shubh is auspicious. Ashubhat, inauspicious. They only bring ill fortune, lack of wealth, lack of support, lack of comforts. It's going the opposite way. So yad anudyasina yukto. So when the person is in this meditation, it's cutting this karmic bondage, because the karmic bondage may not only cause us to suffer in certain ways, but it's also causing us to react and behave in certain ways. We have a particular type of inclination, a particular type of body. Maybe we have a body that we're easily angered. Like I met a friend the other day, and his name is Ashutosh. And so Ashutosh is a name that's given to Lord Shiva. It's also given to Durvasa Muni. It means easily pleased, but it also means easily angered. Sometimes you might know people like that. You can please them very easily, but they're also very temperamental. They become very angry very easily. So Lord Shiva is a personality like that. Durvasa Muni, many stories of Durvasa Muni becoming pleased and giving great benedictions to like Draupadi, and also become very angry and giving curses like he did to what is that king? What's that king's name? Oh, Navneet's here. Ambarish Maharaj. He cursed Maharaj Ambarish. Welcome, Navneet. I don't know if you can hear us yet. Welcome, Navneet. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Jai, Jai.
Hare Krishna, devotees, Danvat Pranam.
Thank you. So we're looking at this verse, verse 15 of this chapter 2. Yad anudyasina yukto. So this is the Krishna or Sutta Goswami is saying, this is this meditation, constant. Anu means always, and it means also following. So following the footsteps of great devotees, we're constantly dhyana, anudyasina. Anudya means meditation. We're constantly meditating, and that meditation upon Krishna, it is like a sword, asina, and it cuts the karma granti. Karma granti, granta. Granti means knot. So we have this really strong knot. How many of you, sometimes you might find it, you have a knot that's so tight, it's not, you can't get it with your nails. You cannot, you even put your teeth in it. You try to open this knot, you can't open it. And what just be like, sometimes somebody might tie a knot on their pants. It's so bad. What do you have to do? You have to cut it, even if you don't want to. It's so tight. It's so tight. There's no possibility of dealing with it other than cutting it. And so anudyasina. So the karmic bondage, actually, one of the acharyas explained that when we have in the old India, they wear dhoti, and sometimes they would tie in a knot some change, some money that they want to use for the day. So it's tied there. And so this is asina. It's cutting away that baggage. So this is karma granti nibandhanam. Banda, this word banda means bondage. Let me pull up the verse again. Karma granti nibandhanam. Chindanti. So everybody do this. Chindanti. I don't see Navneet's hand. That's good. Chindanti. Come on. Move your hand like this. Do it. Chindanti. This is probably easy for you. Do you know this word already? Chindanti. How do you say cut in Hindi? You're on mute.
Katna.
Huh?
Katna.
Katna. Katna. Sounds like English almost. Yeah. So Chindanti. Chindi, like there's this play about Prahlad Maharaj, and the Rakshasas had just been told to kill him. And in the play, they're like, Chindi, Chindi, cut, cut, pierce, pierce, and they're singing all this stuff. They're trying to like attack the great soul, Prahlad Maharaj. So Chindanti means to cut. Chindanti, Kovida, Let's see, go put your finger like this. Kovida. Kovida means expert, smart, intelligent. So this is what the intelligent people are doing. They're cutting the karmic bondage of all these past life that's holding them back in their progress of spiritual life. And it's not like a two-part system. In general, you have the path of Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga. You have kind of two steps where you try to purify yourself and then you engage in a deeper form of meditation. So it's kind of like, say if I have a basketball in my hand, and or say a dog has an iPhone in his mouth, and you don't want the dog to chew on the iPhone. So you throw to the dog a piece of cheese, and immediately he drops the phone and he's jumping to bite the cheese. Or I give, like, say if you have a basketball in your hand and I have a new ball and I throw my ball to you and I say, here, catch. Immediately by your reaching out to catch the ball, you've dropped this other ball. One step, not two steps, one step. So immediately when one reaches out to become attached to Krishna, this anudyasana, anudya, this meditation upon Krishna, then automatically the qualities, the karma, all the negative things are starting to drop away. It's not a separate endeavor where let me put the ball down and let me catch. You know, it's just immediately by reaching out, by the positive process of attaching oneself to Krishna, one becomes detached from matter. Does everybody understand that? Two-step? No, it's only one step. Where in other yogic paths, there's maybe a concern about this karma. And Sutta Goswami is clarifying, you don't have to worry about karma. Your karma is being cut away by this rati, this attachment to Krishna. And so here we find that this anudya, this is meditation. Meditation is actually the fruit of hearing and glorification. If I were to ask somebody, like say I'm speaking here and I ask my kid, please can you bring me some water? You know, my throat is dry. And my kid comes back and he brings me a lemon, or if he brings me my phone, or if he brings me a Bluetooth keyboard, I would think, okay, this kid is not hearing me. So when we hear properly, then what comes? Smaranam. When you hear Shravanam, Kirtanam, then comes Smaranam, becomes actual remembrance. If we haven't heard properly, then we don't remember properly. So when we hear nicely, Shravanam and Kirtanam, which was discussed in that, what was the previous verse that we did? Previous verse 14. I'll pull it up on the screen. Tasmare kena manasa, therefore, with one pointed focus in the mind, therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly shrotavya, kirtita, kirtivyascha, jaya. This is that jhana again, puja, janityada. So you got hearing, hear, glorify. And then when that's done nicely, then it helps us to remember. We want to become Krishna conscious. So conscious of Krishna, always remembering Krishna. What are the two rules that we try to follow?
Never forget Krishna, always remember Krishna.
Yes, never forget Krishna and always remember Krishna. So that is the you had the Nisheda and the Vidhi. Sarva Nisheda are the in the Yoga Sutras called the Yamas and Niyamas. Yamas are don't do this. And so the don't forget, and the Niyamas are do this. So yamas are the things you don't do, and niyamas are things you do. And so what is a thing that we're not doing? We're never forgetting. What is the thing we are doing? We're always remembering. It's one thing, but it's a negative, stated in a negative way and a positive way, just to make it very clear. So that comes from Shravanam Kirtanam, Shravanam Mangalam, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So we're here with the sword in hand, the intelligent man cut through the binding knots of reactionary work by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? And so this question is answered in another verse in the Bhagavatam. Who are those that don't? Who would be so unwise not to pay attention, to not actually engage their ears, who not actually engage their heart? So let's see. What is? Let me see. Okay, yeah, Pashugnat here. Nirvititar share upagiyamanan bhava asochat shrota mano bhirama ka uttama shloka gunanu vadhat puman virajeta vina pashugnat. The glorification of the Supreme Personality of God is performed in the Parampara system. So that's an Anu also, following the great Acharyas. That is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who are no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul who is undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification except a butcher or one who's killing his own self? So there's a person who has the karma to be in a situation that they're a butcher. That's a terrible situation. They have to be such disconnect from reality, such a disconnect from the horrible, miserable situation that they're in. So the Pashugnat means two things: someone who is a butcher, or someone who's actually killing their own self, and they're in the way that they're actually neglecting their spiritual life. Pashugnat. You guys know the story of the butcher, the king. How do I get stop? There we go. Do you know the story of the butcher, the king, the monk, and the devotee? Do you know that one?
Yes, but I don't know it in, I don't remember it in full detail, but
Okay.
I know somewhat what happens.
Now, Vinit, have you heard this story? The blessing to the butcher, the blessing to the king, the blessing to the brahmachari. Sounds familiar. Dana K, do you know this one?
No, I don't think so.
So there is this wandering sadhu, and he comes, and the king sees him, and he blesses the king. May you never die. Oh, nice. Thank you. And then he sees a brahmachari monk. He says, may you die soon. And then he sees a butcher. He says, may you not live, may you not die. And then he goes to see a Vaishnava. He says, live or die, doesn't matter. You are blessed. And so why does he say that to the king? May you live long, may you not die. So for the king, he is just, he's reaping the result of good karma, but he's also just spending. He's just enjoying this world, and this king, in a sense, is just more of a taker than a giver. And so he's just enjoying good karma. He says, but when you die, then you're going to have to. There's going to be payment for all that. So you're living nice now, but there'll be a karmic reaction just for taking and taking and taking. So may you just stay in that situation because you don't want to die, because you'll suffer in the sense that there will be in your next life you may be poor, because in this life you have so many people that are wealthy, and they're wealthy because they did charity in the past, they did a lot of good things in the past, but in this life they're not doing those things. So better they stay alive, because once they die, it's going to be a complete flip of the situation. You know, if we can't learn to be empathetic, we're apathetic. We can't learn by scripture, by friends, by our parents teaching us. Then we learn from the school of hard knocks. Mother Nature gives us a situation that turns us empathetic in our next life. You see that social experiments show that the poor person, the homeless person, is the one that's most empathetic. If you put somebody on the street, a kid on the street, wearing hardly anything, freezing in the cold, the first person to help him is a homeless person. So that life situation forced a particular realization that created empathy. So hopefully we can learn empathy without having to deal with having to suffer in certain ways. But if we can't, then Mother Nature will give us a little bit of course correction. She doesn't force us to the lotus feet of Krishna, but she does give course corrections every once in a while. We still have our freedom to forget. That's what your world is for. And so for the Brahmana, the little boy, the monk, he's very heartily engaged in spiritual study. But once he leaves his monasticism, if you get in India there's what is called brahmacharya. It's student life, it's monk life up to the age of 25. This was the tradition. But once he enters his business life, life of money, he might forget all of his spiritual. So now that he is just fully immersed in spiritual life, let him just leave his body now, and that way he can get the best destination. So may you die soon. The sadhu blessed the boy. And for the butcher is not enjoying. His life is miserable. To be a butcher is not a wonderful life. So the present life is miserable, and the karmic reaction that's coming in the next life is going to be wholly so much more miserable. So may you not live, may you not die. And for the Vaishnava, the great sadhu, the other sadhu, great devotee, in all circumstances, he is blessed. Even if he is poor, even if he is in a difficult situation, if he has that anudhyasana, if he has that meditation upon Krishna, then he is experiencing the world through a different set of lenses, a different set of reality. And he is also karma granti nibandanam chindanti. He's chindanti, conning the bondage of karma. So he is not being bound to this world. So that is the quality of Maya. We want to get free from karma because karma is binding us, and we think it's great. We become, look at my golden handcuffs. We feel if we're heavily engrossed in material energy, we feel, oh, this is great. But this is called avarnatmika shakti and prakshet atmika shakti, two shaktis of Maya. One shakti of Maya is that although we become very much pulled down in our consciousness, we think it's nice. A person could be sitting in a having not showered in 15 days underneath the bridge, shooting up heroin, and they think, oh, this is enjoyment. But this is for most of us, we see, oh, that's terrible. But we could be in a less entangling situation, but still we think this material life is enjoyment. We're still in that same consciousness where it's actually we're not actually feeling great joy, and we're also being robbed of our true joy. We're not really tasting the true joy that we can experience. So that's avarnatmika. And prakshetatmika means we become distracted, deluded. We're forgetful of what is our goal of life. So let me pull up again. Share screen.
Prabhuji, as it is written that liberation, it's written about liberation in that verse.
Say that again.
As it is written about liberation in the same verse.
Verse 15.
Yeah, verse 15. This line is like liberation from material. Second paragraph, I think so. So liberation
let's read it. The contact of the spiritual spark with the material elements creates a knot, which must be cut if one wants to be liberated from the actions and reactions of fruitive work. Liberation means freedom from the cycle of reactionary work. This liberation automatically flows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental, follows. For one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, his Leela. So Krishna is transcendental. So if we're focusing on Krishna, then we become what we focus on. We focus on the qualities of the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, that we develop those qualities. But we focus on Krishna, is transcendental to all the material modes of energy. Therefore, his pastimes are all attractive spiritual activities. And therefore, constant association with the spiritual activities of the Supreme Lord gradually spiritualizes the conditioned soul and ultimately severs the knot of material bondage. So like a piece of metal feels generally very cold, very hard, but if you keep the metal within fire, it takes on the quality of fire. The metal doesn't glow, it's not luminous, but when you put it in fire long enough, it becomes luminous and it becomes full of heat. It changes its quality. It manifests the quality of fire. So the soul, the conditioned mind, when we put it in connection to Krishna, then it becomes spiritualized. It becomes just like Krishna, Satchid Ananda. So here's the paragraph. Let's see if there's a question there. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of spiritual knowledge is not sufficient for liberation. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service so that ultimately the devotional service alone predominates. Is there a question there? Navini?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Means totally, I want to know, we are doing this devotional service. So, liberation and mukti, what is the difference between liberation and mukti?
So mukti means liberation.
Both are same.
Yeah. Muktanjali. This is, if you look up this word Muktanjali, let's see.
So I have heard that that devotees don't want any type of muktis.
Yeah. But she is trying to offer her services. Muktanjali. Muktanjali. Let's see. So she is trying to serve the devotees by offering her service of liberation. But the devotees, as we're going to hear further, they're not interested in liberation. Liberation, they're free from that. What is it we've said in the answer of the questions of the sages? Savaipum samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki. So haita, hetu means cause. That the devotee is not actually interested in any type of benefit. He's not trying to achieve something. He's just trying to please Krishna. Like you have kind of three stages of spiritual life you find in, or three stages of spiritual traditions and all different religions. You have the bottom stage is where a person becomes interested in spiritual life or religious life because there's a promise of some kind of enjoyment, prosperity gospel. So, for the Christians that may be going to heaven, for some people it might be experiencing the pleasure of nirvana. And oftentimes it's even just worldly enjoyment, just like, you can enjoy some sensual, something physical. Then you have, so that's called Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, is dealing with all these worldly things. And then higher than that, you have the Jnana Kanda, where a person realizes, well, worldly enjoyment in any shape or form, it doesn't actually satisfy. It's always full of some kind of problem. Therefore, the person seeks liberation. So those two categories, of bottom, where they're seeking material pleasures, and the higher, seeking relief from material situation. It's all about taking, what can I get? What can I get? Where the top, bhakti means, how can I give? How can I give to Krishna? I don't want anything. I just want to give. But it is a byproduct of devotional service. Do you know this verse? Akama sarva kamova. Have you heard that one?
No, Prabhuji, I don't remember. I'm very poor at remembering verses.
Okay, so this is from Canto 2, very important verse.
I need a lot of practice, so I don't do even that. I don't know what I'm doing. So with your class, I still try to come in contact with some words, but still.
So this is from chapter 2, Canto 2 of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, very important verse, repeated a lot of times in the purports. And therein is stated, akama. What does that mean?
Akama.
Akama. No kama.
Without desires?
Without desires. Akama. Akama sarva. Akama sarva. Well, now I forgot the verse. Akama sarva kama. Amoksha kama. Akama sarva kama. What does sarva kama mean?
Sarva means everywhere.
And also means all.
Yeah, everywhere transcendental kind of.
So sarva means also the word all. So all kama. Whether you have akama, no desire. That's one category. Those are the Vaishnavas. Sarva kama. Whether you have all desires, that's the Karmakandis. Moksha kama. Whether you desire moksha, liberation, that's the Jnanakandis.
Okay.
Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udari Trivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham puram. Whether you have no desire, whether you're full of all kinds of material desires, whether you just want liberation, just very intently, trivrena, very, very strong focus, just practice bhakti and everything will come. Who had great materialistic desires, who approached Krishna and he was 5 years old? Who was that great personality? He was 5 years old. He didn't want just a house. He wanted his own universe. His name was Dhruv
Maharaj. Yeah.
And Krishna, he gave him that. But by the time he met Krishna, he didn't want anything. He said, I have found you, and finding you is like, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but you are actually a real gem. I don't want this. So Krishna said, I'm still going to give it to you though. So whether you have all desires, whether you moksha kama, whether you have desire just for liberation, or whether you're akama, you only want Krishna's pleasure, therefore you're not in the category of material desire, all can be taken care of by this practice of bhakti or devotion. And so even the other paths, they require an element of bhakti. There is no jnana yoga without the element of bhakti. There's no karma yoga without the element of bhakti. Bhakti is not dependent on jnana, as it's described in the previous verse number 7. Bhakti is not dependent on karma. You don't have to have great piety. You don't have to have great intelligence. Here, what is that? Let me see. Let me see 1 second. I have a nice verse here. Ugrasena. Oh, it's not there. It's somewhere else. But there, Evernote. Maybe let me look for Evernote. So bhakti doesn't have any of these this qualification. Only qualification is needed is this shraddha, this eagerness, this interest, this eagerness. Ugrasena. This is my keyword to search. Let me see. Okay, yes, here it is. Where was Dhruva's maturity? Where was Gajendra? He's an elephant. Where was his knowledge? Where was Kubja's beauty? Where was Sudama's wealth? Where was Vidura's noble birth? Where was Ugrasena's chivalrous strength? None of those personalities had any of those qualities. But Dhruva didn't have maturity. Gajendra did not have knowledge. Kubja did not have beauty. Sudama did not have wealth. Vidura did not have a noble birth. Ugrasena did not have great strength. He was conquered by his son, Kamsa. The only thing they needed was bhakti. It was all just right there. Okay, so liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of spiritual knowledge is not sufficient to ensure liberation. So you just can't have knowledge. You actually has to be yukta, has to be connected with the Supreme. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service so that ultimately devotional service alone predominates. Then liberation is made possible. Even the reactionary work of prudent workers can lead to liberation when overcoated with karma, with devotional service. So karma overcoated with devotional service is called karma yoga, because yoga is that union. That's when it's connecting with the Supreme. When we're karmic, when we're doing all these religious duties, a karmi means someone who is very pious and he does religious activities in a very nice way. But when he is connected with God with some affection, then it becomes karma yoga. Oftentimes now in like yoga studios, they'll say like, okay, you do volunteer work, that's karma yoga. But yoga means it's connected with the sense of an offering unto the Supreme. Yoga means addition, means two being connected. The word viyoga means subtraction, so it must be two. Similarly, empirical knowledge overcoated with devotional service is called jnana yoga. So when our philosophical study and kind of discernment between matter and spirit and disconnection between this material world, if it needs to be some bhakti mixed in there. And then that is called jnana yoga. And pure bhakti is independent of karma and jnana because it alone can not only endow one with liberation but from conditional life, but also award the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, any sensible man who is above the average man with a forefront of knowledge must constantly remember the personality of Godhead by hearing about him, glorifying him, and remembering him, and worshiping him. That's the previous verse. What is that verse? It is Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Satpatam Bhatihi Shruttavya Kirtitavyascha Jayavyascha Nitya Jayascha Puja Chanityada always Nityada without cessation. So this is repeating the previous verse. That is the perfect way of devotional service. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were authorized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach the Bhakti code, rigidly followed this rule and made immense literatures of transcendental science for our benefit. So there's lots of things we can shravanam, we can hear about. They have chalked out ways for all classes of men in terms of different castes and orders of life in pursuance of the teachings of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and other authoritative scriptures. Any questions there? Let's see this. I have some verses here. This is Ko Nama Loke. This is another one. Who? This is again like this. Kaha. Kaha is Ko. Ka. This is in the with the verse that we're doing. It has this who. Who other than one who's not a human being can exist in the world and not be interested in the goal of life. So if we're not interested in the goal of life, then we're not really acting as a human. Because what can we do as humans that animals can't? There's a lot of things we can do that are the same. We can eat, animals eat. We can sleep, animals sleep. We can mate, animals mate. We can defend, animals defend. We can use our huge brain to create systems of advanced forms of eating by factory farming and GMO, or even some more natural forms of eating, like we can have nice horticultural situation where there's a nice farming, or there's sleeping. We have nice big buildings, nice we have very expensive mattresses. We can have all kinds of mating. You go to the grocery store, you look at the magazine. I don't know if in India, but not many. If you go to the grocery store in America, there's all these magazines on the right by the kiosk, and the magazines are all talking about 10 different ways to improve your mating. Whereas the dog has no problem mating in the street. And defense, we have all kinds of forms of defense. We have all kinds of advanced ways we have more ways of killing people than saving people. We have a lot of our, actually, where does all our money go? At least in America, all our money goes to defense and how to kill more people, not really how to, give possibly save people from suffering, and more to create more suffering. So those are things we have in common, but the one thing we can do is be interested in the ultimate goal of life. Who am I? What am I? Kya me? Who am I? As Sanat Goswami, when he met Lord Chaitanya, they're saying, he's saying people are glorifying me as some great scholar, but I don't know who I am. I don't know who I really am and how I'm suffering in this world. Markotaya, what is this? This is I forget this, the Bengali, but this is what makes us human. So who other than one who's not a human being can exist in the world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of the narrations of the personality of Godhead which in itself can deliver one from all material pangs. So, and there's another thing about hearing. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavavir iditam kalmasapaham shravana mangalam shrimadattatam bhuvigrinantiye bhurita jajanaha. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions. So what is again? It was just described that karma granti cuts chindanti, cuts it away, and bestow good fortune upon all who hear them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread this message of Godhead are most munificent. Okay. So let's practice our verse. Any takeaways? Any takeaways before we indicate? You have a hashtag takeaway?
I really like to talk about like letting go of these attachments so I can grab onto Krishna, and like everything that I focus on, I become. So like just really trying to, like we talked about last week, like one pointed focus, but that whole talk really hit me. So I really like that.
Thank you. And Carmenji, give us a takeaway.
This verse, well, the whole class kind of reminded me of the analogy where you can have a bird in a cage and you can like decorate the cage. You can put flowers, you can have it a gold cage, but the bird wants to leave. So similarly, the soul wants to leave, and you can decorate the body. You can have your food catered to you. You can have a materialistically, like, really luxurious life, but the soul will never be happy.
Nice. Thank you. Also, what you said reminded me of the fish out of water. You see that maybe you've even seen the picture where they have the fish on like a lawn chair, and then, they're offering him a cigar and a Playfish magazine, and it's like he's not going to be happy with any of those things. He just wants to be back in the water. And so that's what this ultimate liberation is. This apavargasya, as we did in a previous verse, is that freedom just to connect with Krishna. In that sense, a devotee may desire liberation in the sense of, I don't want to be held away from Krishna. I don't want this karmic bondage. I don't want to be pulled this way and that way away from Krishna. I just want to be able to serve him. I'm not here for just the benefit of freedom, but I also want that freedom to be away from the entanglements that pull me away. Okay, so let's pull up the verse and let's give it a practice. Yad anudyasina yukta. So you can repeat on your own. Yad anudyasina yukta. Yad anudyasina yukta. So yat, which anudya, meditation, asina, sword, equipped with yukta, equipped with this sword of meditation. So yat anudyasina yukta. Are you doing that with the hand motions? Yat anudyasina yukta. Karma Granti, karma granti. How do we do it now? Karma granti. Karma granti nibandhanam. Banda, you should know this word, banda, bondage. Karma granti nibandhanam. So granti should be the only new word there, which means not. Banda, we should know, is bondage. We find this word in Yoga Sutras and many other literatures. Karma granti nibandhanam. Karma granti nibandhanam. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam. Yad anudyasena yukta. Yad anudyasena yukta. Karma granti nibandhanam. The karmic knot of bondage. Chindanti kovidas tasya. Chindanti kovidas tasya. Chindanti kovidas tasya. Chindanti kovidas tasya. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam. Chindanti kovidas tasya. And even if you're watching on Facebook, you can learn it. You just repeat after repeat. Just Chindanti kovidas tasya. Kona kuryat kataratim. Who can say what is kata? Remember what kata?
It's like Krishna kata, right? Like you speak about Krishna, like
Yes.
you come together for Krishna.
Speaking about Krishna, Krishna's messages, Krishna's speaking, Krishna's Bhagavad Gita talks about Krishna. And rati again is that attention, that attraction. Kunat kuryat. Ko. This is the kaha. Kaha. Who would not be attracted? Just by this meditation upon beautiful pastimes and beautiful philosophy. Karma granti nibandhanam chindanti. Our karmic bondage is cut. That's why the Kovidas, there's no devotee I know. His name is Kovida. What's his last? Kovida something. Kovida. I know a devotee, something Kovida. Vinod Kovida. Vinod Kovida. I don't know what the Vinod Kovida means. So Kovidas tasya. Those who are I wonder if it's, I don't think it's related to the word kavi, but Kovida tasya. Kovida tasya. Chindanti kovidas tasya. We can repeat again. Chindanti kovidas tasya. Kona kuryat kataratim. Kona kuryat kataratim. Kona kuryat kataratim. Kona kuryat kataratim. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam. Chindanti. Chindanti, don't forget, make your little scissor hands. Chindanti Kovidastasya Kona Kuryat Kataratim. So who can give us a reading of it? Someone give us a reading.
I'm still struggling with the second word.
Which one? Granti?
No. So
Oh, Anudya.
Me too.
Yeah. Wait.
Anudya
Anudya
Sina.
Sina. Kind of like, oh no, never mind. Okay. So Anudya Sina.
Anudya Sina, yeah.
Anudya Sina.
Yep.
Okay. Yad Anudya Sina Yuktaha Karma Granti Nibandanam Chindanti Kovidas Tasya Ko na Kuryat Kata Ratim.
Very nice. One more time.
Yad okay. Yad Anudyasina Yuktaya Karma Granti Nibandanam Chindanti Kovidas Tasya Ko na Kuryat Kata Ratim.
Very nice, yes. Yad Anudyasina Yukta. Karma. Yep. Go ahead.
Anudyasina Yuktaha.
This one we just do Yukta.
Oh, Yukta.
Yep. Karma Granti Nibandhanam.
Karma Granti Nibandhanam.
Chindanti Kovidastasya. Kona. You gotta put your arms up. Like what? Who? Why? Why?
Oh, that's very cool.
Kona Kuryat Kataratim.
Kona Kuryat Kata
Ratim.
Ratim.
Okay. Dana K, can you give us a reading?
I will try. Yad Anudyasena Yuktaha.
That one again is Yukta. When it ends on the second and fourth line, then you do the if it ends here or here.
Oh, okay. Yukta.
Yep.
Karma Granti Nibandanam Chindanti Kovidyastasya Kona Kuryat Kataratim.
Okay, very nice. One more time.
Yad Anudyasena Yukta Karma Granti Nibandanam Chindanti Kovidastasya Kona Kuryat Kataratim.
Very good, very good. Now we're just leading up to now. Yeah, if we don't have this great attachment, this is a kata. This is some hints right here by serving the devotees. Great service is done, and by such service one gains affinity for hearing the message. So we start to develop that attraction there by the serving of Krishna's devotees. Shinvatam Sokata Krishna. And it cleanses the heart, material enjoyment, for material enjoyment. and almost all that is troublesome in the heart is completely destroyed. And then becomes kind of a strongly established, becomes like nishta, becomes more firmly fixed in the heart. And then the effects of the modes of passion, ignorance, lust, desire for hankering, this disappear from the heart. And it becomes, devotee becomes situated in sattva, goodness. And he becomes completely happy. Does this sound good? And then when he's, by being in goodness, his mind becomes enlivened by contact with bhakti, and he gains like this positive scientific knowledge. He actually develops actual vigyan, like actual realization. It's not just something that sounds good in the head or on paper. It's like he's experiencing it, and he begins to be completely liberated. And so this heart, this knot in the heart is pierced, and all the misgivings are cut, and the chain of fruit of actions is terminated. And one is no longer the slave of the mind and senses. One sees the self as the master. So now there's nice glorification. So it's continuing on. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you. We'll see you starting these are the important verses coming up. These very famous verses, all about importance of just giving our ear to that spiritual knowledge. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your help and participation and dedication.
Thank you.
And all those who are listening online, those who are listening to recordings, thank you for listening. And if you have questions, or if you want to participate on other times, you can message or WhatsApp, and either myself or others can meet up with you different times, and you guys can practice and discuss these verses. All right. So let me turn off the Facebook recording. Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.